I think my reservations have kind of been dissolved. I've let it sit and marinate since I talked with you guys last. And I think I'm so intrigued that I'm ready to kind of jump on board. But again, it's that gatekeeper of not knowing how to do so and to do it in a way that is effective and purposeful and profitable for me.
Welcome to Sat Chats, the Bitcoin podcast where we chat about sats. Sats are the smallest part of a Bitcoin, the same way pennies are the smallest part of a dollar. Not for long is what I heard. With Sat Chats, we are building the world's biggest Bitcoin welcome center to serve as your gateway to generational wealth. So if you're brand new to Bitcoin, we want to chat about sats with you. Head to satchats.com to grab your slot in the studio today. And also, I haven't said this in a while, but if you're not brand new to Bitcoin and you have questions, or if you're way not brand new to Bitcoin, but you want to come on and help us orange pill others, go ahead and grab your slot too. I will be serving as your host today, Stuart Bitcoin Maxey, who wears prescription sunglasses to protect you and your loved ones from my Bitcoin laser eyes.
And I'm your co-host, Chris, founder and CEO of Ithaca Hummus, resident Bitcoin smash buyer, at least every time my wife lets me. And I've got a quick announcement before we get rolling. We're giving away 10 million sats, 10 million Satoshis. That's worth over $10,000 right now on YouTube. All you have to do to enter is subscribe to our YouTube channel because we're giving that away when we hit 100,000 subscribers.
So smash the subscribe for your chance to win 10 million sats. And we're also on the road, right, to number 99, Kristen. Trudging along, gladly trudging along.
Gratefully
toward my wife, because she lets me buy Bitcoin each week, but I want to buy even more Bitcoin each week. Okay. All right. We're so excited to have Quahana back on. We tried to have a conversation with Quahana a couple of weeks back, and it was spotty on the connection. And she looked like about 3 pixels put together was like the amount of signal coming out of her house. We're like, Quahana, are you still there? Whoa. So we're back. We're here in action. We're going to be answering Quahana's questions today about Bitcoin. But before we do, help our satillionaires out there get to know you a little bit more, who you are, what you do.
Sure. Well, my name is Dr. Quahana Hendree. I am an art consultant and a theological art historian. I'm the owner of Q Hendry Art Consulting based here in St. Louis, Missouri, where I partner with corporate, commercial, and government groups to advise them on their artwork purchases and manage their corporate artwork collections.
We love that.
Yes.
And shout out also to Natalie Brunel, who lives in St. Louis. We definitely want Natalie to come on the show. She is a lady who is prominent in the Bitcoin space, and she brings like a polished, journalistic, approachable kind of vibe to the Bitcoin world, which is otherwise peopled with, dudes.
Yeah.
So let's jump right in here, Quahana. How much do you know about Bitcoin?
Absolutely nothing, other than the video that I watched from you guys explaining the basics of it. So that's about where my knowledge of it is. So about zilch.
Selfish here. What did you think about that video? Was it informative? Was it too short, too long? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Was it entertaining? Was it not?
Did you make it all the way through?
Yeah.
I made it all the way through. I did like it. It was the perfect length, and it was basic enough where I got a better understanding of it than I had before I came on. I should have watched it before I came on last time. So okay. It was just enough where I wanted to know more. It was just enough of a taste where I wanted to know more.
Hey, okay. Well, let's test your recall here, Doctor. What can you remember from that video?
I remember that Bitcoin is electronic money. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great one.
Yeah. You almost don't need to remember anything else, but do you? Do you remember anything else, or is that the key takeaway?
Yeah, that was a key takeaway for me. That's what I needed to know, was that it was electronic money.
Okay.
I think that's the most important thing that we try to encourage people to understand about Bitcoin, because so many pre-coiners enter the Bitcoin universe, misclassifying it as an investment opportunity, which it absolutely is. But if you look at it through that tight of an aperture, you are not seeing Bitcoin for what it truly is, which is, as you say, digital peer-to-peer electronic cash.
Yes.
It's money. Bitcoin is money.
Electronic cash. So I absolutely adore that you watched it, that it was the perfect length, that it got you intrigued to learn more, and that you walked away understanding that Bitcoin is electronic cash. That is making me feel warm. It's making me feel accomplished. It's making me feel happy with our work. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Yes.
Now let's ask the next big question here, okay? What is stopping you from stacking your first sats?
Probably not knowing how to acquire my first sat.
Okay. So not knowing how to get your first sats is holding you back from getting your first sats.
So let me try something here.
Okay.
Real quick. It's not going to take long. So some of the common responses that we get to that question are, I don't know enough about it, therefore it doesn't feel safe and I can't trust it. Another one is like what you just said, there's a process that I'm not sure how to run. Like there's friction and I don't understand it enough to go out and take action and do what I think I want to do, but just don't know how. So you're classifying yourself in that second bucket.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So let's check real quick too, because I like that. You watched the video, you get that it's electronic money, and what's holding you back is not that you don't know enough about it. Like, are you on board for what Bitcoin is and what it could be, and now it's just a matter of figuring out how to get some? Or do you still have some reservations around, like, I don't know?
I think my reservations have kind of been dissolved. I've let it sit and marinate since I talked with you guys last. And I think I'm so intrigued that I'm ready to kind of jump on board. But again, it's that gatekeeper of not knowing how to do so, and to do it in a way that is effective and purposeful and profitable for me.
One thing that I want to know before we get into the nuts and bolts, if I might,
please,
what is so intriguing about it?
I think what's so intriguing about it, it seems not as liquid as standard cash, and therefore it seems a bit safer because it's behind. It feels like it's behind a layer of security that I don't have with liquid cash, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. It feels more secure to me as a form of money as well. Let me ask you what you feel your dollar is potentially at or under threat from. Like what security risk is there to your dollars?
I'm not sure. Just
are you afraid that like some guy could hold you at gunpoint and say, pull this money out of an ATM? Are you afraid that the government would be like, yeah, we're taking the money in your bank account now? You know, since Bitcoin is more locked up, what exposure do you feel that dollar has for you?
I don't think I feel in danger of it being stolen or taken, but I feel like it feels like it might be devalued or devalued and not as full bodied as it should be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's what I've come to realize, and I used to have the exact same feeling that you're describing right now, which is like this cash stuff is convenient and it works everywhere, and that's nice, and I can carry it around with me, and that's good. But there's something going on here. Like, it feels like it's losing value. And what I now understand is that cash is not a good place to store value. It's not a good place to store value because the government can just print and print and print as much of it as they want. And as they do that, the value of the dollars that I hold automatically go down.
All right. So there are many ways to acquire Bitcoin, and there's been all sorts of permutations over its 16-year history. I think it's going to be most accessible if we just focus on the mainstream way to get Bitcoin, right? So, Quahana, have you ever traveled outside of the United States?
Yes.
Where have you gone?
London, England, France, Mexico, Canada.
When you were in England, what were they using, the pound or the euro?
Pound.
The pound.
I still have some on my desk right now.
Really?
Yeah.
So how did you get those? Once you landed in England, how did you get those pounds?
I exchanged my US dollars for the pounds.
Okay. Did you do that at the airport, after you landed?
Yeah, let me think. Did I do it? Yeah, I did it at the airport.
Can you remember what that process looked like? What that was like when you went there?
It wasn't easy and it wasn't complicated. It was kind of a necessary task, but I felt like I was being ripped off.
It was almost like they were like charging you a premium to change out your dollars for pounds.
Yeah, because I have some left over here because I couldn't exchange it back before I got back to the US, and so I wound up with having some left over to bring home because I couldn't exchange it. And I felt like that was a waste of money. So, and I don't know what the exchange rate was when I was there, but and this is no shade against England whatsoever. I just felt like, am I being ripped off? Like, is this right? Like, I just felt terrible. But it wasn't a hard process, but it was kind of a weird process.
Where we're going with that, Quahana, is you'll be getting Bitcoin in exchange for your dollars the same way you got pounds in exchange for your dollars. You have to go to an exchange. You have to go to a money changer, right? And they will take your money and they will give you a different kind of money. Now, they're going to be taking your easy money and they're going to be handing you hard money. They're going to be taking, your 20th century money and handing you 21st century money. They're going to be you're going to be handing them something the government can make as much as they want of, and they're going to be handing you something that is scarce, period. And that's it, right? So we like to think that you're changing out bad money for good money, but you have to change it out. And to do that, you go to an exchange. Now, where are these exchanges? Are they in the airports?
No.
Are they at the Costco checkout line?
No, thank goodness. I'm not waiting in that line for my Bitcoin.
Where are they? They're online. Bitcoin is electronic money, so your exchanges are in the electronic space. Now, one great example of this would be Bitcoin Well. But since we're going to be focusing on a little bit of an easier start for you, maybe we talk about some place like River or Kraken or Cash App or even Coinbase that will basically let you set up an account and connect in your bank and then buy some Bitcoin, and then it stays with that place. Okay? So
let's go Coinbase.
Let's go Coinbase. Okay. All right. So let's focus on Coinbase. My first time exchanging money for Bitcoin was on Coinbase, and it was very easy. Okay. I tried a couple of hard options first that weren't making any sense. And then I just tried Coinbase, and it was easy. Okay.
Yep.
And they have had some absolutely fire commercials recently.
Great
Can't deny.
Yep.
So do you use your what is your preferred electronic device, Quahana? If you're there to do some serious work, are you going to be like me and get a keyboard and a mouse and a computer, or are you going to be like my 18-year-old nephew and do it all from your smartphone?
If it's serious business, I'm going to use my laptop with my mouse, or maybe even my iPad. If it's a smaller, not as serious kind of deal, I'll use my phone. But I use my laptop more than anything for stuff like that.
Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We would pull up a web browser on your computer, and we would head to Coinbase, which is likely Coinbase.com.
Yeah.
But you could also just Google Coinbase and you'll get there. So when you get to Coinbase, you'll set up an account. And this is as easy as setting up a bank account or creating an account on social media. I mean, if you've ever popped in your email address and then chosen a strong password to get logged in somewhere, that's all that's required to get into Coinbase as well.
So you set up a username and password.
Now, once you're inside Coinbase, you've got to connect your bank account so that you can buy stuff, right? And you can't buy Bitcoin with a credit card on Coinbase, right? Because some degenerate could just rack up $20,000 worth of credit card debt to buy Bitcoin because he thinks it's going to go to the moon, and then
getting a lot of trouble, getting a lot of financial trouble.
Yes.
So you physically have to link your bank account.
Correct.
Okay. So you link your bank account to Coinbase.
Right. And that's easy too. You've done that, your routing number, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Now, once you've connected your bank account, if there's anything they need to do to get to know who you are, your name, where you live, stuff like that, you go through that. And we don't need to get into the reasons why you have to give them that much information. That's for when you come back on in 9 months and are all fired up about Bitcoin. For now, you just got to make an account and get it connected. And then all you're going to do is say, I want to buy some Bitcoin. And Coinbase will say, okay, how much? And you put in how much, and then you click buy, and boom, now you have Bitcoin. It is that easy.
I have a quick question. From one thing I did take away from your video as well was that there is a finite amount of Bitcoin to be had. So how does that work? If everyone's buying sats and buying Bitcoin, won't it run out because it's only a finite amount?
Okay. So let's answer that question real quick, because I think we've shown that it's about as easy as it can get to buy Bitcoin on an exchange like Coinbase.
I think we've completed that task. You go to Coinbase.com, follow the instructions, start buying Bitcoin. Buy $25, start there.
And I do want to say a little bit more about that if we come back to it. Okay. But to answer the question you're asking right now, if there's only 21 million Bitcoin, how can everyone stack sats? Well, the answer, Quahana, is that not everybody can. And that's what makes it so rare and so valuable. And I believe that, as Michael Saylor says, 2024 to 2034 is going to be the Bitcoin gold rush, where everyone is scrambling to get their fair share of Bitcoin. And from 2034 to 2138, when the last Bitcoin will have been mined, it will be those who have Bitcoin and those who do not have Bitcoin. Those who have Bitcoin are going to be able to buy things and buy services from people who do not have Bitcoin for not that much Bitcoin. And those people are going to have to work hard and add value to the system in order to just scrape and scramble for sats, right? But once they get enough sats, they'll start circulating it as well. A good way to think about this, Quahana, is you could go on Coinbase and buy 50,000 Satoshis right now for about $50. But after the Bitcoin gold rush in 2034 and moving into the 2040s, the 2050s, those 50,000 sats aren't going to get you $50 worth of things. They'll get you like a $50,000 car, So stacking sats now, even if it's a small amount, will allow you to contribute to the world economy in a meaningful way that will allow everyone who doesn't figure it out as quickly as you do to earn Satoshis.
What are Satoshis?
So Satoshis or sats are the smallest part of a Bitcoin, the same way pennies are the smallest part of a dollar. There are 100 pennies in every dollar. There are 100 million sats in every Bitcoin. So even though there's only 21 million Bitcoin, it's like saying there's 2.1 quadrillion sats. Right? And since the current world economy is worth about 900 trillion, that means there's more than twice as many units of Bitcoin than we would need dollars to lubricate all the wheels of society and the economy and all that. So it's a limited supply, but it's not running out.
So you're stacking sats to hold on to them, or are you stacking sats to use them now?
Okay, I have an answer for that. What's yours?
I mean, the option's yours once you stack them. You're stacking sats for optionality. You're stacking sats to store your value for the future. But with those sats, you also have the option to spend them or sell them or exchange them back into dollars at any point in time. So, yeah, I mean, I stack sats and I don't spend sats right now.
So my answer, Quahana, is that Bitcoin is money, and we save money and we spend money. So Bitcoin is your savings account and Bitcoin is your checking account. You could save, you could have Bitcoin over here in that blue wallet on your phone where you control it as your savings. And you could have Bitcoin on Coinbase where Coinbase controls it as your spending, for example. That's a bad example because you can't really spend from Coinbase, but right. You get my drift. You could have Bitcoin for saving and you could also have Bitcoin for spending. And it's also worth noting that Bitcoin is incredibly liquid. I know you said that it feels less liquid than dollars. And to an extent it is because you need to understand how to get it, how to use it, how to exchange it. But once you've learned that, and it's not that steep of a curve, you would never leave the Bitcoin airport with Bitcoin in your pocket and being unable to exchange it for US dollars if that's what you wanted. The pounds that you couldn't change out in England and you come all the way back to America with money you can't use, Bitcoin can be exchanged for US dollars. Bitcoin can be exchanged for pounds. Bitcoin can be exchanged for euros, Canadian loonies, rupees, rands, yen, yuan. Any money you want, someone in the world will say, sure, take my silly slips of paper. If you really, here, give me your Bitcoin. Yeah. Give me your Bitcoin. So it's incredibly exchangeable, which makes it, really, really useful as money. But you can save it as well.
Okay, great answer. Thank you for clarifying that.
So how do you feel now that we've talked about going somewhere as easy as Coinbase, following their prompts, and buying some Bitcoin? Do you feel like you can do it?
I feel confident that I could do that easily.
Yeah. Okay. We love that. Now, one thing that's interesting too, Quahana, is you talked about how you wouldn't just smash Bitcoin the same way Chris smashes Bitcoin.
Meaning just buy a whole bunch of it all at once.
You're not going to buy $10,000, $50,000, $100,000 worth of Bitcoin. You're going to buy a little bit, right?
Correct.
Okay. And you'll hear it from me as a Saifedean Maxi. The best way to buy Bitcoin is slowly over time and consistently, whether it's month by month or week by week. And some people even go day by day. Because when you buy a little bit at a time, it's not that scary, right? And also when you buy a little bit at a time, you kind of create a scenario for yourself where your Bitcoin will always be worth more than what you paid for it. And here's what I mean by that. If you buy a little bit of Bitcoin when it costs $100,000, and then you buy a little bit of Bitcoin when it costs $150,000, and then you buy a little bit of Bitcoin when it costs $200,000, then you kind of have a cost basis around $150,000. So you're kind of always in the green no matter what, because you're like trailing behind Bitcoin as it works. If you smashed it at 125 and it dropped to 100, you might feel bad until it climbs back to 125, and then you feel okay. Then it goes to 150 and you're like, yes. And then it comes down to 125, you're like, ooh, don't go below, don't go below, don't go below. It goes back up to where you're like, oh my God, thank God. You know, when you smash like Chris smashes, you have to be willing, you're locking yourself in for the long run psychologically, which a lot of beginners aren't going to be ready to do. But when you're buying a little bit at a time, it just kind of works. So on Coinbase, once you've bought your first Bitcoin, you can kind of set up a recurring purchase so that you don't really ever need to think about it again or mess with it or do anything. You could say, hey, look, Coinbase, each month, I just want you to buy me $50 worth of Bitcoin. And each month they'll just, it's like you're subscribed. Now, what might be nice in this scenario, Quahana, would be to then download the Coinbase app to your phone. And since you've already kind of done the hard work of setting up your account on the desktop or laptop with your mouse, and maybe you've decided that you want $50 a month each month, then you can have fun on the app on your smartphone where you can just kind of check your account whenever you want to check your account and say, oh, look, I got another 50,000 sats this month. That's really cool. Now I'm up to 100,000 sats. I want 200,000 sats, or as Bitcoin's exchange rate goes up and down, you can see like, oh, wow, my $100 worth of Bitcoin is now worth 110. This is really exciting. So a lot of times I like to do my heavy work on a screen with a keyboard mouse. And then I like to kind of have like a window into it on my phone.
Yeah, that's a good description. Yes.
Have you heard people say, or maybe felt like this yourself, that Bitcoin's really volatile? It's too volatile.
I have not heard that. No.
Okay.
Prior to talking to you guys, I tended to tune out conversations about Bitcoin because I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
Now, hang on. Now you tuned him out because you didn't know anything about it. But there's no way to learn about it unless you do tune in.
That's true.
How did you feel emotionally when that word came up? Were you thinking, oh, this is just some internet stuff, or this is a fad, or this is technology that's too far ahead of me? Like, what feelings did you feel that made you say, tune out?
I felt like it didn't apply to me. I felt like it wasn't something I was interested in. And I felt like it was kind of wackadoodle and I didn't want to deal with it.
Okay.
And normally if I'm intrigued by something, I don't let the fact that I don't know anything about it deter me. But it wasn't interesting to me. So that's why I tuned it out. But now that I have tuned into it, my interest was piqued. So now I can tune into it because now I want to know more about it.
Okay. All right.
For me, it was like, I couldn't see clearly the reason why I should care about this. Before I got interested in it, I was like, why should I care about this? It doesn't seem like it's something like that's for me. And it also seems kind of complex. And so I don't want to invest my time going down that rabbit hole right now because I don't know what I'm going to get out of it.
Exactly.
That's a really good point. And I think part of what we need to try to do on this show is help people understand that they spend most of their lives working for, earning, and attempting to save something they never really think deeply about. We all get up and work to earn money, but how many of us have thought about money? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you stop to think about money, you'll realize, man, this US dollar is not very fair. I have to go by the rules, but the people who make the money don't have to go by the rules. And even as I'm working my butt off to try to save enough money to buy something, that thing's getting more expensive all the time to where I'm having to try to catch up to it. Like I'm just going to be on this hamster wheel forever. But I think all of that is excellent fodder for if and when you come back on. Let me stop real quick. We ask each of our guests if they'd be willing to come back on in 9 months to give us an update on their Bitcoin baby. Would you be willing to come back on in 9 months and keep chatting about sats with us?
Sure.
Okay. Do you feel confident that you could hop off this line, set up an account on Coinbase, and make your first Bitcoin buy?
Sure. Yes.
Do you think that you would be ready to set up an automatic monthly recurring buy $50 of Bitcoin a month? No.
I wouldn't do that until I made my first purchase and kind of tasted how that felt. Then I would determine if I want to do the automatic. I don't love that automatic withdrawal, but I do it when I have to. So if I felt like, wow, this is something I would want to pursue, I would probably make a few purchases before I set up the automatic Bitcoin purchase.
So do you feel comfortable making that first purchase and then listening to more of our show when you're in the car, when you're on a walk, if you're like me, when you're in the shower, and learn more and maybe get ready to buy more next month?
Yeah, I am the perennial student, so I love education. I love learning, especially about things I don't know about. Especially when I'm excited about it, I could listen all day. So yes, I would listen for sure.
So let's recap our conversation with Dr. Quahana here today. She is in St. Louis. She is an art-centric person. She's got some theological art background. She's got some consultative abilities for individuals, businesses, governments to select artwork for their spaces. I believe it was Q Hendry was the name of your business there, right? And we will put all that information and links in our show notes. And I'm actually going to stop here too before I keep going. My understanding is that you have some kind of offer for our Satillionaires, correct?
I do. I get asked all the time, how do I start collecting art? How do I buy art? And so I actually created a series of products around getting started collecting art, kind of like you guys do, getting started with Bitcoin. And so this week I pushed out the first product, which is a mini guide to lay the foundation for starting your art collecting. It's 5 principles to start collecting art with meaning. And so all of my new subscribers get that guide for free until end of day tomorrow, which is Friday. After that, it'll revert to a price, but it's a small price. Again, it's always going to be a special rate that I give to people that subscribe. So it's free for the next 48 hours. And then after that, it's $9. And over the summer, I'm going to be rolling out different products, all related to starting your art collection. So we have the foundation, then we have the curation, and then I have a kit where you'll have fillable charts, you'll have interactive graphs and lists to help you start collecting, doing it with purpose and meaning, to enhance your space. And even though my clients are normally corporate, commercial, and government groups, these products are available for individuals and groups. And they always have the option to book a session with me, which is always free the first time. And each time you buy a product, you're going to be getting a special code that gives you a discount for the next product. I'm kind of doing what you guys are doing, just on the art side of it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, content for pre-patrons. They're pre-patrons.
Love that.
They have not yet patronized the arts, just like you guys are pre-coiners. We got some pre-patrons, okay?
Yeah.
So where can they
Absolutely.
go to connect with you and to find these products?
They go to qhenryartconsulting.com. That's the website. They sign up for that free newsletter, and they can download the ebook. After Friday, when they go to sign up, there will be a products page where they can purchase it directly. If there are any glitches or problems on the website, they can always email me directly, and I will send it to them personally. They can email info@qhenryartconsulting.com, or they can email Quahana@qhenryartconsulting.com, and I will personally answer and send that to them. And that is all available on the website, qhenryartconsulting.com. If they're on social media and they want to connect with me, they always look for Q Hendry Art Consulting and they will find me.
Nice.
And I love to connect with people, love to connect with artists, and just help people raise their art IQs, so that they can speak with authority about art, and they can invest in art, they can collect art, and they can display art with confidence and with ease.
Wow. Okay. Love that. So
Great.
QHendryArtConsulting.com. We had a really interesting dynamic where we had a false start with you weeks ago, and you watched our primer, What is Bitcoin? And it got you to a place where you realized Bitcoin was electronic money. And so we focused today on how to get some, right? We kind of started off with what's intriguing about it. Well, ultimately it feels better than the US dollar for one reason or another. Maybe it's less liquid and therefore more secure. Maybe it's driven by rules that are fair for everyone, but there's just this kind of general sense that Bitcoin might be better than US dollars. So we kind of took a tour through your time in London, how you exchanged US dollars for pounds, got absolutely ripped off by the exchange, not only through the fees they charged, but also because the exchange rate probably was rough. Did some tours there and then couldn't even change out all your money back to US dollars before getting on the plane. That hurts. We talked about how a Bitcoin exchange is just like that money exchange in the airport. You go to them, you hand them your money, they hand you their money. That's it. And the easiest way to do that is on a platform like Coinbase. And I'll also mention River. I'll mention maybe Kraken, Cash App, Strike as well
But the best way to do it is on Bitcoin. Well,
yep.
That's what,
And that's when she comes on back in 9. We'll rip into that.
Yes.
But my first purchase was on Coinbase. You just go to Coinbase.com. You follow the instructions, and bada bing, bada boom, you're buying Bitcoin. Also, please ignore absolutely every other option on Coinbase, Quahana. Quick asterisk. Coinbase will say, hey, do you want some Ethereum? Do you want some Solana? Do you want some Doge? Do you want some Monero? Do you want some Cardano? Literally ignore all of it. Just the Bitcoin. Only the Bitcoin. Okay?
BTC.
Yeah.
Bitcoin.
Just stay laser focused like you've got laser eyes. Okay. So just a quick disclaimer.
Yeah, good one.
Very easy to work on there. And then, we talked about continuing to learn more. Listen to Sat Chats, listen to podcasts, talk to Chat GPT, ask your friends. Just make that an exploration, because money isn't necessarily the most exciting topic anybody's ever talked about. I think artwork, quite frankly, is more interesting, but money is freaking important. And we are trying to help people understand just how important it is. So
just choose the right money.
Just choose the right money.
Goes a long way.
Yes. Let's try some. I'll flip it over to you here.
All right. Quahana, so we believe in value for value here on Sat Chats. You came twice now and showed up and gave us your time. And so in a minute here, we're going to offer you your choice as a token of our appreciation between $50 and $50 worth of Bitcoin. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick hummus break from our sponsor, Ithaca Hummus.
Here we go.
We got the Graza.
Cheers.
Let's go. Every time. Great batch.
Like 2 seconds in, the olive oil shows up. It's like, boom, I'm here.
It does. It does. This olive oil, this Graza olive oil has just like, it's not just like the spicy or the bitter olive oil. Like it's got like a fruitiness to it. It's really nice.
It tastes high quality.
It is. And it's prominent in this olive oil and sea salt collab that we've done at Ithaca Hummus with them. Real easy to find on the shelf, bright green packaging, in a sea of all white, like our other flavors have that white look. This one stands out, and it's a hot seller, man. #1 at Whole Foods right now.
Zero, and since I'm your taste buds here, Quahana, 0 to 2 seconds, crunch.
Yep.
2 to 5 seconds, beautiful olive oil.
Yeah.
5 to 6 seconds, saltiness.
Salt.
7 seconds onward, just like creamy hummus mode.
Yeah.
That was kind of my journey through that.
Nice layers. The layers.
That was very descriptive. I love that.
Now, where can Quahana get Ithaca Hummus in Saint Leonge?
We just launched in Kroger. So if you have Kroger's there, which I believe you do. No Kroger's.
I have Whole Foods.
Okay.
We have Trader Joe's. We have Schnucks, Dierbergs.
Okay.
Which one do you go to?
All of them. I go to Whole Foods quite a bit.
Is it in Whole Foods in St. Louis?
Oh, yeah.
100%.
100% Whole Foods.
Hundo.
Yes.
All right, so grab some
Then I'm
Ithaca
set.
Hummus the next time you're there. Crunch it like we crunched it, and then come back to the comments of your video and tell us what you thought about it.
I am eager to do so. I will totally do that.
All right, so back to our token of appreciation to you, Dr. Quahana. We've got
what you did there.
Yes.
A token. A government token of appreciation.
Token. You can have $50 in cash, or you can have $50 worth of Bitcoin or Sats. I've got the confirmed on-chain exchange rate pulled up behind me at $104,439 for one Bitcoin. So I'm going to take 50 and divide it by 104,439 and multiply that by 100 million, because there's 100 million Sats in every Bitcoin, to get 47,874 Sats, or $50. Your choice.
Well, I'm so excited about Bitcoining now. I think I'll take the Bitcoins.
Yes!
Oh, so good. It feels so good.
Yeah. This one feels great. I'm so happy that you stacked 47,874 Sats. You bring our podcast's scoreboard to
71
guests who have stacked the Sats, along with 6 who need a little bit more time.
That's okay.
Okay. They wanted a government token of our appreciation.
That's all right.
And that's all right. The Welcome Center's like, all right, look, if all you're trying to do is, check the tire pressure and go to the bathroom before you keep hitting the road, that's okay.
Happy to have you.
We would really, we got another one 40 miles down the road when you need another bathroom break. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So this is the part of the show where we ask you Satillionaires for your value in exchange for ours. What do we value? YouTube subscriptions.
And watch hours.
Our million Sats winner, number 6, Michael, has been hitting us with the watch hours by streaming the Sat Chats playlist on his second monitor while he works from home.
We don't mind that. I mean,
we don't mind that at all.
That's
right?
That's very helpful.
Go make it happen. We will unlock a membership area for you once we reach enough watch hours. There was something else of value I was thinking about offering when I was in the shower today. I've forgotten about it. Hopefully it'll come back later.
Yep.
When you subscribe, you will be entered for your chance to win 10 million sats, or should I say 9 million plus one sats in exchange for 100,000 subscribers. Okay. 10 million sats, 100,000. Hard to work in tens, dude. It's hard to work in tens. So do it. And remember, I guess there's another way to support the show is to come on. Satchats.com. Come on the show. Whether you're a pre-coiner, a new Bitcoiner, or an old one, please come on the show. We want to chat about sats with you. Remember, Sat Chats is for educational purposes only and should not be construed as financial advice. Also, our guests' views are their own. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.